Every single brand, company, SaaS running ads experiences these 4 ad parasites. Now, the reason we call them parasites is because just like a parasite, when it captures a host, it stops the host from being able to achieve its lifelong dreams. And in this context, it stops your ads from scaling. So let's identify these 4 parasites and figure out how we can solve them. The first parasite is high CPAs. Like a leech, these ads suck away budgets, making it impossible to scale profitably. Now, what are the causes of high cost per acquisitions? So cost per acquisition really means the total spend of the campaign divided by the number of actions taken. If you don't know what this is, I worry about you, but this is why I'm here, okay? Depending on what you're selling, it varies, and I get that. However, it's not impossible to reduce it because we have actually diagnosed that the causes for increasing CPAs are the following. 1, you have poor targeting. Your audience targeting is probably too broad or it's way too narrow, meaning that you may not reach the right amount of people. As a result, it takes longer and more ad spend to get somebody to do something. Therefore, the cost per action goes up. Next reason that we found for high CPAs is low ad relevance. Okay, Facebook measures ad relevance based on user feedback and interactions. If people engage with an ad but don't buy something, and those are the people in that group category that do end up buying something, it's saying that it's still relevant. Okay, these guys might not have bought something, but it's the same relevant audience. However, if you make an ad and the audience that purchases and the audience that interacts are completely different and they confuse it, it's because there's not a lot of relevance to the ad. Another thing is your ad isn't engaging enough to resonate with your target audience. What does that mean? So a lot very markety words, and I get it, but as a scientist, we need to define this. So the way that I define this is engagement means somebody takes an action on it. And why do we engage with things? Why do we engage in a conversation? Why do we sit down and listen to people talking for a long time? It's when somebody is either telling us a story or somebody is speaking to us with a message that matters to us. If somebody is speaking to us about something that's completely irrelevant, we're going to get bored. We're not going to listen to it. And we're either going to leave the conversation or very easily on the phone, skip the ad. And if you don't fix this, Facebook would still charge you to show these videos in front of people. As a result, if your ad isn't relevant, but it's being pushed to a lot of people, your CPAs will go up. And other smaller things that affect CPAs are landing page conversions, high competition, insufficient budget, incorrect campaign objectives, poor optimization, and ineffective bidding strategy. But the first 2 that I mentioned have a big impact. Now, the next parasite is actually ad fatigue. So just like parasites that wear down their host, stale creatives overstay their welcome, weakening the engagement of every view. Now, what does ad fatigue mean? So if you have time here and result here, ad fatigue looks like this. So you run an ad, it might take a while to get results, but you start to get some results and you're very happy. Like, holy shit, this ad slaps. Then the results kind of stay the same for a while and you're pretty happy. And then what happens? Boom, it drops. The results go down, time goes on, nothing happens. Ad fatigue. What does that really mean? If you're looking at the data, it means that around here, Facebook understands who it is that is targeting and pushes the ad to those people that are relevant to it. And then what happens here is that Facebook starts to bid your ads against other people, kind of bidding for the same group of people. So say if you're targeting a specific group of people based on your ads, after Facebook gets it, it's going to show those ads to more people. And then you have other companies that are also trying to bid to that. So there's basically a push towards yours and a pull towards yours. And so Facebook is trying to bid. Now the question is, what's happening here? Why do things stop going up? Why don't they continue like this, right? Why doesn't it just continue like this? The problem is, at this point here, you get outbid and your ads stop becoming relevant and people get pissed off by seeing the same shit. What happens is other brands who are making better ads than you, better creatives than you, they're more relevant to who you're targeting. They basically steal your customers. They're like, oh, look at me. My dance is nicer than yours. And then what happens is with your budget, Facebook can't compete with these guys. And so what it does is it also increases your frequency. It starts to show your video to the same people as before, saying, hey, by the way, are you still interested in this ad that I showed you earlier? And then because your frequency goes up and the ad creative isn't good enough to get people in and buy something, your ads fatigue over time. So what are the symptoms of the ad fatigue virus? The first is extended amount of time without results. your click-through rate is very low. It's less than 1%. Your CPA starts to increase. Your ROAS drops after a while, more than 25% after time before it goes down quite a lot. And your frequency goes over 2. So that is ad fatigue. Now, the third parasite that plagues every single brand is having the wrong messaging. These ads act like an invasive species, unwelcome and ignored by your target audience, leaving you with your efforts wasted. Let me tell you what almost every single brand does when they want to run ads. Step 1, let's run ads. Okay. Step 2, what do we do? What ads do we run? Either contact an agency who knows what they're doing, or they try to do it in-house. So say they do it in-house. They go, you know what? Cool. Step 3, let's see what others are doing. And so they go to sites like Foreplay. They go to Meta Ads Library. They look at their competitors. And they go, cool. Step 4, let's copy, but let's do it a little bit different. A bit like that one friend that you gave them your homework when you said, yeah, you can copy it, but just change the words a little bit. And then what happens? Step 5, they go, you know what? This doesn't work. Let's stop. And then they don't run ads. And then they start again. And the cycle continues. Okay. Now my job, my purpose in life is to break this cycle. Okay. I want to break it right here. Let's see what others are doing is the part that ruins every single brand wanting to run ads. You can't look at what other people are doing and expect that firstly that is working for them, and secondly that is going to work for you. You need to have a bottom-up approach. Now, the reason people do that is for something called survivorship bias. And just tell you a quick story. In the Second World War, a lot of airplanes would come back with a lot of bullet holes in different areas like this, right? And different areas here, right? And they'll come back from battle, and a lot of soldiers were like, you know what? Let's add some more armor to these areas where all these bullet holes are so that our planes don't crash. Okay, cool. So they started doing that. They started adding extra armor to these areas, and they started fixing this and they started fixing that. And then at some point, a very smart person came, right? He's probably wearing glasses. Okay. And he was like, you know what? I think this is wrong. I think that we need to be actually adding armor to these areas here that haven't had bullets, because the planes that are coming back with bullet holes in these areas mean that they can get shot in this area and still come back. But the guys that don't come back with any holes in here means that these are the areas you've got to protect. That's called the survivorship bias. Now, what people are doing in the advertising space is they're seeing, right, a brand run an ad and they say, oh, this brand is running this ad. I'm seeing this ad. Therefore, if I do an ad like this, make it slightly better, I'll compete with them. There are two problems with that. One, you're assuming that that ad is working for them. And you don't know that until you really understand the library. And two, what you're doing is you're actually trying to bid against these guys, right? You're trying to completely get into competition with something that's already competing. As a result, when you start slowly spending your ad budget into ads that are similar to that of your current competitors, you're starting at the bottom. There's no reason for it. Like, you're choosing to lose, as opposed to going, you know what? Okay, they're doing these ads great. Let's not do anything like that. But instead, let's understand our ideal avatar. Okay, let's think about what do they struggle with? What do they sound like? What do they watch? What objections they have to buying our products or services. And when we start to figure that out, making the advertising, making the content, it's a lot easier, because now you have things to go for. Now, if you want to know exactly how we do that, here is the video that you need to watch. This is the most important video when it comes to audience research, and it's the one thing that every brand gets wrong. And for that reason, their messages are wrong. And for that reason, they get ad fatigue. And for that reason, their CPAs go high. Now, the last advertising parasite is not enough testing. Not enough testing is like using the same vaccine against different viruses. It's not going to work. Almost every new account that we've worked with, this is what their ad sets look like. So they would have something like 3 ad sets that look like this, all with different targeting. This is targeting this many people here. This is different interests, different interests. Then inside the ad set, they will have all of these ads, and every single ad is completely different. They will have one ad that's a static, one ad that's a video on one topic, one is another topic, one is another topic. And then what happens is they're looking at the results. And what they find out is that maybe this ad is a great ad. That is the best ad that they have. And so they go, cool, this ad is good. Fantastic. Now they're going to scale that ad. Then what happens? They're going to experience high CPAs, fatigue, etc. That is where most of these brands go wrong. Now, this is what we do for our testing. Similar thing, except our ad sets are basically ad 1, V1, ad 1, V2, V3, V4. All of these versions are different hooks of one particular ad style. So say the ad is talking head, right? The hook is different. One thing is changed. There's only one difference between the ads, and that's the hook. The second ad set is the same thing, but all the ad versions we are changing. Well, this one we are changing the hook. This one is one hook that we chose, but the body is different. Okay. And now when we're looking at the results, rather than having to look at the CPAs and the this and the that and the other, we only have to look for one thing. In this one, we're only looking for the hook rate. Okay. Which one had the best hook rate? And this one, we're looking at the hold rate. Okay. Which one had the best hold rate out of these? Now, these are not going to be macro spends and micro spends. You're only spending a few dollars, like $20 a day, until you get to a certain amount of impressions to find out which ones are the best. But then you're able to say, okay, this number 2 had the best hold rate. This one had the best hook. Therefore, if we were to combine this body with this hook and try variations in something else, like the call to action or whatnot, now we're able to really test ads based on previous information that we know works. That is the level of testing that we're doing with our clients, and you're not doing that, and this is why you're experiencing the 4 ad parasites. So if you want us to make the ads for you and guide you through this process, then click the link down below. If you want our ultimate guide on how to make powerful UGC ads, then also click the link down below. And if you want to learn how to do extensive research on your ideal buyer, check this video out right here. Peace.